my poser when I want freedom. You my poser when I want justice. You my poser when I want equality. Want me to go somewhere and fight for you? You won't even stand up for me right here in America.
This is The Rundown. I am Zach B, doing things different here for season 2 of The Rundown. I'm glad to be back. Not necessarily in the same studio. We're more so on the road, taking The Rundown on the road. Do not have Mr. Jamar, Malik, and Alex with me this time around, but you will be hearing from them, and they will be guests on the show, and they'll still be co-hosting as well. And so to introduce first, here on The Rundown, video game head, recently entering New Hampshire University, Mr. Anthony DeBop, DeBardelaben. How you doing, sir?
Doing good, man. Thanks for having me on the show.
It's a new season as it relates to football, so we got to talk about it. NFL,
definitely.
NFC is what we're going to be talking about. A lot of pressure in that conference, overall. So we'll definitely, get a chance to dive in. But first, I got to introduce the other cat in the room. Superstar DJ. Man, you looking for a party? Tell him. If you're looking for a party, he's definitely gonna rock the house. On the road, he's toured across the world. Yeah. Toured across the U.S. Yeah. Met some famous artists. You name it. As it relates to hip hop, I gotta introduce to you all, Mr. DeVon, better known as Philly. Yeah. Also known as Campus Legend, Camp Legend, DJ Camp. Man. It's, you name it, that's what it is. But it's good to have my man, Mr. Phillips, in the building, man. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. Appreciate you for having me on. Man. Let's talk some sports.
Oh yeah, you know what time it is, man. It's just all about the NFL right now. It's late July, so it's that time of the year again. Everybody's rooting for their team. Everybody believe, everybody just believe that their team's going to be the one to win it, right? Everybody believes that, oh yeah, my team won a Super Bowl. My team's going to win a division. My team's going to go undefeated, this and that. So we're going to see other so-called analysts, believe based off, what's been written out there based on you guys' favorite teams. And we'll see how you guys feel about that and what direction you guys think the NFC conference in the NFL and what direction it's going to go. So first things first, I want to talk about and I want to discuss where we're at. We obviously are in the state of Michigan, and so you got to talk about the Detroit Lions and how bad they are and how bad they've been. They've been pretty bad over the course of forever, it seems like. They get to the playoffs every blue moon, it seems like, every 2 to 3, 4, 5 years, and then it's a drought. So they got Matthew Stafford. They pay Matthew Stafford all that money. They got players currently right now, Darius Slay, just to name one, who's looking for a contract. But how you looking for a contract, right? And you can't get any wins on the standings.
No dubs.
So come on, man. How do you guys just feel about that? And just the Detroit Lions in general. And I'll direct the question at you first. How do you feel about the Lions heading into this season with that NFC North division?
Well, as history shows, Lions never really been the four front runners in that conference or division, I should say. I feel like they have positive things to look forward to, but if you look at that roster on paper, it's kind of hard to see all the positive. Me, like you said, we're Michigan kids. We've been seeing the Lions, so from my perspective, I can see it a little different than the outside world might see. But going back to contract situations and people needing their money, it is big play Slay. I'm gonna just leave it there. But I don't think this roster really will do as bad as everybody feels they'll do. I feel it'll end up middle of the pack. They probably won't finish last in that division.
You don't think so?
I don't.
Okay, now I gotta stop you there because most people believe, and then it's funny that you say that they don't think they'll even finish last in a division because it's been written that the Detroit Lions they might finish last in the NFL. So not even just the division, NFC North finishing last in NFC North. They may finish last in the NFL and have to compete and try to get maybe Tua out of Alabama for that number one pick.
Looking at their schedule too, it's very possible that they could have the worst record in the league by the end of the season.
But they're coming back. They had they got the running back coming back, Kerryon Johnson, of course. So with a strong run game, they just added a tight end, Noah Fant. The way they play, if they can control the pace, limit turnovers, because a lot of the time last season, you had to rely on the Matthew Stafford throwing, north of 35 times a game, and that's just not healthy football, So it translated to a lot of losses, and you had to depend on coming back early or late in games. If you could stick with that run game, we saw when they got the run game going really early and often, it was a nice, mixed tempo. You didn't really know, it wasn't a run pass type of situation every time in the 3 and out. I feel if they can continue with that run game, if he has a healthy season coming back, the offensive line isn't, necessarily that bad. Actually, it's pretty average.
Okay. Well, all right. Now you bring up the run game, and this is the NFC North we talk about.
True.
So it's some defenses out. It's some defense out there. It's some defense out there, right, Philly? It could because you got the Bears, and do I even really need to bring that up in
defense talking about
front 7, front 4, really? Khalil Mack, that's a stud. I mean, he's a stud.
Definitely. I don't know why the Raiders let go of him. I don't know why the Raiders
we're going into a whole new season, and we're still asking that same exact question.
Because we know what he brings to the table every snap. I don't know why they let him go.
But when you look at the Bears, this is just from my perspective. They do have Pagan or Chuck now, and I don't know if it'll be the same. They still have all that talent. Don't get me wrong. The talent is there. There's no host. Like, it's not a front 7, it's a front 11, as we be saying. But that system, it might not be the same. He might not be implemented the same way he was before. Because, it became, of course, teams going to automatically game plan for Khalil Mack. But, it became so where they was game planning for him so much because of the way he was implemented into the defense. Other people was opening up more than they were way before he got there. More before he got there. Which, of course, that just comes with the effect of having him, kind of like a LeBron effect, but the Khalil Mack way.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
It's fine. I mean, the system. We don't know how he's going to use them. We don't know how he's going to implement those players the way that it was last year. It might not be the same. And then the defense might be on that. The defense might be on the field a lot longer because that run game is going to look a lot different without Jordan Howard.
You believe so?
I do.
I mean, I just think last year particularly, I would say this about the Bears and their offense overall, honestly, it was a little average at times, and it felt like it was kind of like elementary with the style of play they would try to run, like a lot of underneath stuff. For Mitchell Trubisky, not really a lot of deep downfield throws, but, Kevin White, he's struggled to get back on the field, and then, a few injuries. I believe Alshon Jeffries had injuries throughout the year, too, for the Chicago Bears. But I will say this, though, Roquan Smith and those boys, I think, and Khalil Mack, I think we'll be able to handle everything and take care, defense. Then you got, Amos in the backfield, for the corners and everything like that.
Can't forget about Callahan, Mr. Rice himself.
Yeah, and also, like you said, Callahan, and then Danny Trevathan, linebacker that we've discussed before. He's gonna bring it without question. Then obviously, Eddie Jackson, and then also Leonard Floyd. Can't even forget about Leonard Floyd. So it's definitely a lot of pieces, like we said, front 11 for the Chicago defense that's going to be prepared for that run game that you speak of from Detroit Lions. That's just one team. Then you bring up the Minnesota Vikings, who you got to play twice a year in that run stopping defense as well. So I think it starts in the run game, but you got to be able to pass the ball and get first downs on third down.
You got to know.
So you got to be able to execute the 3rd and 6, the 3rd and 7, the 3rd and 8.
And that's where I said that the addition of Noah Fant was really a great pickup for the Lions looking forward. Because, you know, how you just said, even if they do it, if they might, you know, speculations, they could end up with the worst record. And then everybody automatically assumes, oh, get the quarterback. Well, not necessarily. I mean, Matt Stafford is still Matt Stafford. I mean... That's the guy. Yeah, the guy. I mean, he can play. I mean, it might not all. It hasn't translated to much postseason wise, but what is it? 0-2 at this point, or because you had the Calvin Johnson catch. Yeah, so I mean, those are just bad breaks. If you look at it, I mean, they were right there. So
when they reached the playoffs,
yeah, when they did get there. Okay. But that, like you said, those short yardage, those move to change, that
matter.
That's what matters.
And so, okay.
And that'll wear at a D. That'll wear at any front seven.
So, for me, low expectations, I have for the Lions. Like, I have low expectations for the Lions. Yeah. I agree with most writers that's writing about NFL predictions right now as it relates to the Lions. 4 wins, 3 wins. That's all I'm really seeing from a Matt Patricia-led team, because I think he's going to focus a lot on defense, but I don't know if they'll be able to put points on the board.
That's always the problem. They can do whatever they want to, but the Lions can never put points on the board.
And why do you think that's the case?
Really, bro? To be honest, the Lions, I don't know if it's just me, but when I watch them, they red zone, it's not that great. They get to the red zone and choke.
So, like, they just kicking field goals?
Yeah, that's at the end of the day, they're not running it in there. They don't. I mean, Matt ain't just setting up no plays where he just, we end zone shouted, this good every time. Most of the time they having to back out and having to kick some field goals, and that's field goals not going to win you no games.
And again, absolutely. That fall right back to Matt Patricia again. They got that. They have a high tendency to run, pass. And it becomes predictable. And that's why, and a lot of time last season, how we speaking about putting points on the board, a lot of points come in the fourth quarter when the pace is pushed against them. Well, the faster they play, the better they play, because you become more unpredictable, especially when you're getting chunk plays in your run game and your pass game. Even if the chunk play comes from a short yardage pass, they don't have, rack leader Tate no more. They don't have rack leader Tate anymore, so you're gonna have to look for plays from younger guys and from you guys that aren't still on the roster at the wide receiver core position to make a play, make a man miss, but a chunk play here and there, and when you're pushing the pace, especially when you got a quarterback experience as Matt Stafford that can do it, that can make the quick read from now and there, and we know if he needs to throw it deep, we know what that arm looks like. So, I mean, when they push the pace, it's way more efficient than when you're more in a chess match, dealing with your coach.
So I guess I'll ask you this then. Who do you think offensively do the Lions need to lean on as it relates to, picking up yards after catch and getting those 20-yard runs or those 20-yard catches down the field, 25-yard catches down the field? What players offensively do they look for, coming up for this season to be able to execute those type of plays?
First, I would have to say again, we're gonna have to figure out if Kerryon will come back the same guy. Every team, there's no team in the NFL that's consistently putting up great numbers or great points, I should say, that doesn't have a reliable run game. This is football. That's football 101. So it really starts with him. Making sure that he's the guy that can really get us in short yardage situation, because a lot of times that's what the rack will come from, as far as when you do get that pass, because now you're sucking guys in off the play action. Of course you're going to get those linebackers coming up, and then that's when you can get it behind them. A lot of rack yards come from off of play action plays or those quick sideline plays, to where you already got the front seven looking in the backfield because you have been running so well, and you get it out to those edges. It's hard. It's a lot of linebackers, even though in this league it is speeding up more and more, you got a lot more side to side linebackers, but you got premier athletes on the edges. So in the passing game, I have to go with Galladay. And And of course, Curse being the pickup with Curse. We're really opening it up for Marvin Jones because he's right now, in my eyes, our clear number one. I'm saying but the Lions clear number one.
That's your man.
But yeah, Galladay. If we already saw, he could be a premier deep threat, given the opportunity. So scheming him into things and getting him, in that second level behind those linebackers in between safety, that nice window. You get him, especially in cover 2 situations, which a lot of teams will go to in short yardage situation. If you can off play action, get him in that cover 2 and get him flowing across the middle, I feel, it'll be a way to get them those nice chunk plays that they need, because then you can go back to the run game, slow it down just a little, but then you got to put your foot back on the pedal,
I feel like TJ gonna play a big play too, cause
the tight end that they drafted, man. Listen,
I say that because Lions, even though they do their plays where they like to do a lot of long shot plays, Matt like to keep it short. He like to go short, to pick up his yards piece by piece. Cause when he throw deep passes, it's a 50-50 with him. Not just him, but it's because his receivers being them, not being as advanced and, it's not as advanced as smart as Matt is. He kind of been in the game a while. He got brand new receivers, so I know he probably still going to try to keep it short and steady and get them yards piece by piece versus trying to get them all in one big chunk.
I misspoke. I meant TJ. I kept saying Noah Fant. And I meant TJ. Yeah. I didn't misspeak.
So, I guess I'll ask you this, Philly. So who do you think wins this division? Because like I said, I have extremely low expectations for Detroit Lions, and if I had to choose a winner of this division, I would probably have to go with the winner from last year, which was obviously the Chicago Bears. I probably have to go with the Chicago Bears again, simply off the fact that defense I know is going to be stout. It may be even more hungry than it was last year, because last year I feel like they were kind of gelling and meshing as they were going. But as they were going, they were playing, well. They played extremely well. And so
the team I really thought probably had the best chance this year, they lost everybody. They got a new coach. They lost their receiver. They head defensive man. I really thought the Packers could do it this year, but seeing that they just letting everybody go, I think the defense, at least Chicago defense, is that steady enough to where their offense is just, even if they just mediocre, they still gonna be good to go because nobody's gonna pass that defense. So I for sure got Chicago coming out of the North.
Now you see, he picked Chicago, and I did as well. But and then he mentions, he mentioned the Green Bay Packers, and it seems like maybe they're in a rebuild, but they still have Aaron Rodgers. So as long as you have Aaron Rodgers, you're gonna be in games no matter what. But he didn't mention the Minnesota Vikings, and now the Minnesota Vikings, even according to Sports Illustrated, they have the Minnesota Vikings winning the division, going 11-5, and potentially winning the division over a 10-6 Chicago Bears team.
Yes, sir.
What's your reaction to that?
For me, I think the Minnesota Vikings showed us that they do have what it takes. The pieces are there. Front office has done what it's supposed to do. Now you're depending on a guy like Kirk Cousins to really take you to that next level. And it is funny when you say it, but this is what it's come to.
Because you paid him all that money.
Yeah.
$84 million all guaranteed.
And you have what you need.
All that money.
You got a number one. You got a clear-cut number two. You can run the ball. You got
Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen, 1,000 yards, over 1,000, 13. I think he had 1,300 yards.
It's there.
And then obviously Stephon Diggs, he's a 1,000 plus yard receiver. Obviously, he probably get at least 85 catches.
Then you'll hope for a healthy Dalvin in the back.
Dalvin Cook, absolutely. And that's one of the players that I believe is going to be the X factor for the Minnesota Vikings, who can potentially, take back the division of the NFC North, the Minnesota Vikings, by him playing well and him staying healthy. Dalvin Cook out of Florida State being able to stay healthy down the stretch of the NFL season, along with, two, stout wide receivers in Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs, will really put the Minnesota Vikings in position because the defense is solid.
Definitely.
Defense is solid. So
Front seven is here.
Yeah, so I really think it's going to be a two-team race between the Vikings and the Bears. And, Green Bay, I think they'll win some games. They go 8-8, 9-7. But I think the new coach is just going to be like a year away from really, putting them in like a playoff position with having Aaron Rodgers. And like I said, the Detroit Lions, what do you guys think about Detroit Lions? I'm thinking last in the division and maybe even last in the NFL.
The only way I can see them not being last in their division, only way, is if Aaron Rodgers get hurt.
Again?
Yeah, if he get hurt again and you just take him completely out of Green Bay situation, that's the only way I feel like it'll be a fight for the bottom. To not be at the bottom. That's the only way it cannot be a fight. Because everybody's going to win their games. They're going to be the only ones losing.
And you said the schedule's tough. Now, how tough is the schedule?
Like they first 4 games are all losable for them.
For them?
No, for sure. I know their first game they got Arizona.
And it seemed like they played them in the beginning of the year.
In the beginning of the season a lot.
A lot.
How losable really is that game though?
Yeah, it's not that bad.
It's not that bad.
It's not that bad. They got rookie coach first game, rookie quarterback's first game. It may be winnable.
I don't think
especially Matt Patricia, especially with Matt Patricia, defensive coach.
Again, that's why I say you got to really take the whole. I mean, it's always going to be scheme over team, but at some point you got to take the chess match out of it. Push the tempo if you have to.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's been proven you play drastically better at higher speeds.
They got Arizona the first game. They got the Chargers the second game. And, Phillip Rivers coming off of a season that he had last year. I don't see him losing. They got Philadelphia, and in my eyes,
That's week 4?
That's week 3.
Oh, that's week 3.
Week 4, Kansas City. Come on now.
We 1-4. We 1-3.
early. They
got a pretty tough week 5, week 6. Like I said, unless Aaron Rodgers get hurt, because he week 6.
But
Minnesota week 7. That's a lot of. That's potentially 0-7.
The Lions can split.
They can split within a division. However,
yeah, it's a tough schedule.
It's a tough schedule.
Very tough.
They don't have a potential win until week 8 when they play the Giants.
That's a dub.
That's a potential.
That's a dub.
All right, don't let San Quinn get mad.
1 versus 11.
Don't let San Quinn get mad.
Don't let San Quinn get mad. You know how that game could go. I mean, they could beat the Raiders.
Maybe. No, wait, whoa.
No.
I said maybe.
That's a high power.
Don't let Jordy
Antonio Brown, Tyrell Williams, Jacobs in the back, Derek Carr.
Is Jordy still over there or are you somewhere else?
He retired.
He retired?
Yeah,
he retired. That still can get bad for them. Chicago, that's a dub. That's an L. They not. Come on now. We coming into town. My boys coming into town. You know what we finna do to them.
Yeah, we gonna get to your team. We not gonna expose what team it is yet. But we don't. Yeah,
that's a lot of losses for them. I feel
it is. That's tough.
It's tough for them.
Now we're gonna move forward. Out of the NFC North. Let's talk a little bit about the NFC South. We got the Atlanta Falcons, New Orleans Saints, the Carolina Panthers, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And this division is interchangeable, man. Because the last decade, the last decade within itself has been 3 different teams who've each won the division 3 times. So it interchanges it all the time. You never know who's going to win. Obviously, the last 2 seasons, New Orleans Saints have won the division. But it's, you had a point where Carolina had a run where they won it 3 times in a row. So it's interchanged between those 3 teams out, the 4th team, Tampa Bay, they've struggled, the last decade being at that top point of, the NFC South. But this year, you got the Falcons who are projected to be good and the Saints who are projected to be good. But that team that you like, Mr. Ant, that's the bubble. That's the team that's on the bubble for me in the NFC South. I don't know if they're going to go 10-6 or if they're going to go 8-8, because it's just... Yeah, it's a lot of optimism right now as it relates.
And Tampa Bay did grow. They grew. I know they finished the season a little weird, but they did show potential. And we not finna just be sitting here at the bottom of the division every year. So somebody gonna step up this year.
And so when you look at Carolina, and you got Cam Newton, he's coming off the second shoulder surgery, in 2 years. And a lot of question marks is how he's going to look coming into this year. Did they adjust their roster as it relates to the offensive line? Will Greg Olsen be able to play, a full season, or will he still have foot problems? Like, there are a lot of question marks as it relates to the Carolina Panthers. So my question to you, as it being, your favorite team within this division, and everyone is picking, Drew Brees and the Saints, or Julio Jones and what's the quarterback? Can't think of his name off the top of my head right. Ryan. What's first name or last?
Matthew.
Yeah, Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan and Julio Jones and those boys, they're picking them to win the division. Your thoughts on that as it relates to the Carolina Panthers?
I'm gonna be completely objective here. I'm gonna take the bias out of this. For me, it's not a 3-man race this year. It's a 2-man race, and it's still between the Panthers and the Saints. The Falcons didn't show much promise last year.
Okay.
It was a lot of games where they clearly should have been the winner, but they just don't know how to put it together. And that happens, after you go to the Super Bowl, you take a L in historic fashion, and then you don't have that bounce back season, and then year 3 or year 2 afterwards is the year like, okay, we know how to get there. We had a slump, and then boom, that was that year, and they left a lot to be desired for the fans, and for other people looking within the conference. They're not somewhere you're gonna look over. They have superstars, but I still personally think it's a 2-team race with the Panthers and the Saints. The Saints right now are the favorite, which is acceptable. They have talent at every position, not many holes, and they went very far. Probably one play away from being in the championship. For me, though, the Panthers' success will depend on how healthy Cam Newton is. We go back to last year before he was clearly injured. Teams by week 7, I should say, teams could really see that he really couldn't throw past about 30 yards. The offense became really West Coast, so it's either home run or 2 yards, basically at that point. So it's gonna come down to how healthy Cam Newton is, and if he can stay healthy. He was throwing about 67% before he left, before he had to just shut it down due to injury, which was, I would say, about 6% up on average throughout his entire career. And that's just having Norv Turner. He knows how to work with a quarterback like that. And then Christian McCaffrey's just coming along more and more and more. He's learning how to play in between the tackles even more. With that being said, I project the Panthers to go 10-6. Potentially fight for that wild card spot, but the Saints will be an 11-win team, possibly 12.
Okay.
But the Falcons probably 8 wins.
8 wins.
8
now,
wins.
It's funny because according to Sports Illustrated, I was reading this article and I was just going through different projections in terms of win-loss column, and they actually have the Falcons winning the division, going 11-5 after their 7-9 season, and they think the offensive line will be improved, as well as Calvin Ridley, being that X factor, his old self. He's going to continue to develop into that number 2 and really be a huge factor with Julio Jones possibly, getting double teamed, quite often throughout the games. And then, obviously the Saints, they're going to be the Saints. They have 9 games in a dome, so they don't have any. Most of their games, they don't have any weather inclements, and so they'll be 10-6. They have possibly a chance to be 10-6. But then that's when the Panthers come into play, and the Panthers are actually projected to go 5-11.
But and I can understand that, because a lot of this again is based on how healthy Cam Newton will be. We drafted Real Greer in the 3rd round, which I feel like it was a steal. Very good pickup, West Virginia kid. looking at his health, if he is healthy, you know, which Ron Rivera says he's locked and loaded, ready to go. You expect the coach to say that, but you know, it's Riverboat. It's believable. He's gonna put it on the floor. If it's not that, he won't say it. Second year with Nerve Turner again. The offense.
Yeah, I actually just saw that too. Like the second year of him is going to be extremely noticeable this upcoming season.
Yeah,
definitely going to be able to pay attention to see how he develops and how he turns out at this upcoming season.
Mm-hmm. And this gives us a chance. We did lose Devin Funchess, but the pieces we have at the wide receiver position fit the scheme more than 6'4", 215 did. Mm-hmm. It's more of a quick twitch offense. You know, West Coast again, short passes, quick, get it out. You have the flare out running back, who's known to be a receiving back primarily, but can still run between those tackles. So that zone, that inside zone, you know, that will be, of course, be the base run. But that inside zone becomes, you know, more and more effective as the game goes on, as you wear away. I think history has shown that the Panthers don't play with anybody. They don't play games with anybody within that division. It's all, even the Saints. The Saints we just saw. Every game it came down. I think Demir Bird fumbled on punt, which we would have been up 7 if he didn't punt. If he didn't fumble. It always comes down neck and neck. That's
within
the division. So division games, you know, that's 6 games out the schedule.
Yep.
So, you know, you take 4 of those games, you're sitting pretty great. The out of conference games, they always do well out of conference. Well, they always do good enough to win. What is it? They usually win 7. It's either 6 or 7 out of conference games on a yearly basis. So if you get 6 and then you take 4, you're a 10-win team. Mm-hmm. You know, so that's why I say they could be 10-6. You know, because that's just me looking back through history and what they've shown, what they do within their division on a year in and year out basis. 10-6 isn't hard for the Panthers. A lot of their losses come when he's not playing. He being Cam Newton. So the Falcons, like I said, they have a lot left to be desired. They'll have to make me a believer within that division. I just don't see it.
Man, you know, you being okay, Mr. You know, you being in Atlanta. So you know, you being in Atlanta. You know, I know that's not your first team. You know, but I know you being in Atlanta. You feel me? You know, that's your team. So like, how do you feel? You know, he's saying that you may have to just flip it.
I'm not worried about Cam. I'm not worried about Cam. Not worried about Cam.
And why is that?
Because Cam can't come to Atlanta and do that no more. This ain't young Cam no more. This ain't dabbing all over the place Cam no more. He hurt. He crying too much. Carolina like they don't want to block for him. You know, they just let him get hit.
He did get sacked a lot.
I know what he can do, but when you ain't got the time to do it.
But everybody's coming back off that offensive line. It'll be a healthy year.
Just like how you said, Atlanta got to show you. Carolina got to show me. They got to. Because I know what Cam can do. I know you give him 10, 15 seconds. That's a higher percentage chance a touchdown going to happen. Or a first down is going to happen.
10 to 15 seconds.
Anybody 10 to 15 seconds.
Not everybody though. You know, some people panic in 10 to 15. You know, like
too much. Like 7.
Right. Like
7 seconds.
You feel me? Like, but 10. If I say 10 to 15, because you give people 7. All right, now the quarterback got
how long? 10.
No, but I'm just saying.
That's
but I'm just saying, like you get 10 to 15, right? You just said in 7.
Listen to me.
No. Hear me out. You just said in 7.
10.
7 is like maximum. Like
7, like the max.
Read.
Like you only get. But listen though.
Hear me out. I said give Cam 15 because by that 7.
No, 7 is the max. Like you probably
his other 7 on feet. He in go. It's a first. I said first down.
Make 7 more. Okay.
This is Cam we talk about. By that 7, his other 7, he gone. He first down. Shorty
ran at like 5.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
probably 6.
You know, you give somebody like that much time, if his line really protected him like that, he gonna get the job done. But once you give Cam 2 seconds to throw, it's bad. Cam not throwing in 2 seconds.
This is a quick slant. This is a quick slant. Unless it's a quick routes. I was supposed to be. He was in the offense or something.
So,
but I'm assuming everybody's, Tampa Bay is going to be another rebuilding situation. I don't know though, because Bruce Arians, new coach,
quarterback oriented.
All right.
I mean, Jameis Winston. This is the year I believe he has to at least turn it around.
Is he facing a contract year?
Because it's the contract year. Because it's the contract year, I believe that Jameis Winston will be turning around. Less turnovers. That's his biggest flaw. Because he can throw the ball. He just can't turn the ball over.
Is it going to be a problem for the Saints about Mike coming to practice, or will he be there soon?
Come on, man.
$20 million for a wide receiver of your stature. You catch over 90% of the balls thrown your way.
They better pay that man.
Surpassingly, you might have to pay him $20 million a year. I'm sorry.
And they better do it now, because the longer they hold out and you don't get that boy in training,
the angrier he gets.
The angrier he gonna get, and then when the season starts, the eyes gonna be he on ESPN every week on some Le'Veon Bell.
You got a Cowboys situation at hand.
No, but yeah, if I'm Michael Thomas, I'm trying to get my money too. $1 million this year.
For sure. And I know everybody in New Orleans saying,
bro,
pay him.
$1 million. This upcoming year, after what I just did, no, I'm straight. After what I just did, the season I just finished, And $1 million.
And I'm the one that took the hit. They really could have got us in the game.
Last year, for each catch that he caught, he made $12,000. You know that Antonio Brown and somebody else was like 6 figures a catch. I need my money. $1 million? I need my money. So, I'm rooting for Michael Thomas to get paid for the New Orleans Saints. Go for it all. Go for every penny you possibly can. If you want $20 million a year, you can
get your money.
Go get $20 million a year. If they're going to pay a quarterback $25 plus a year and they struggle every year, not necessarily who?
He was Pro Bowl, right?
Oh yeah, Michael Thomas definitely Pro Bowl. So yeah, he deserves it. He deserves it. So we talk about Michael Thomas and his contract situation, but someone is in training camp and he is practicing and he is within the same division and he is a wide receiver as well, looking to get paid, looking to reconstruct his contract. And that wide receiver plays for the Atlanta Falcons, and that wide receiver is aiming for 3,000 yards receiving this season as well.
He's gonna do it,
and it's Julio Jones,
and he's gonna do it.
I don't know. That's impossible. Do the math.
Who else we throwing?
Do the math. Calvin Ridley.
The ball.
Calvin Ridley can actually, play.
Right? Yeah, 1-on-1. He's not a one.
Come on, now. You know how Julio walking around Atlanta.
But 3,000. I know every year, he can get 1,200 yards, 1,400 yards. But
give me the ball.
3,000 yards. You know how many other people? Listen, you know how many other people who want the ball are going to be upset? They ain't getting the rock if he's going to get 3,000 receiving yards. That means no one else gets the ball.
If he getting 3,000,
if Matt Ryan,
they might not run. They throw 55 times a game.
If Matt Ryan,
they winning the hell out of these games.
Bro, that's so impossible. Listen to me. If Matt Ryan throws for 4,500 yards, right? 4,500. I'm just giving him 4,500 yards passing. And 3,000 of those yards is one person. One person. Because the year they went to the Super Bowl, I think he threw the football to so many different receivers that year. They said he had a touchdown to probably every receiver on the team, running backs, tight ends, anybody who was able to catch the ball, he was giving it to him. It was so many people were scoring the football from Matt Ryan back in 2017 when they went to the Super Bowl. But it's just crazy to me, that they won't pay these guys, pay Julio Jones and pay Michael Thomas. And so you believe that it's between the Carolina and the Saints, and you believe it's between the Falcons and the Saints.
Yeah.
But we all can agree that the Saints will be in the picture.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, absolutely. Oh, you're going to say something.
Buccaneers, they have another good season or not. I feel like them 3 teams right there actually are gonna have that good of a season where it's like Tampa Bay will have a good season,
but it's just
not gonna be good enough to be over them 3.
Over the top NFC teams, the other top NFC South teams. This is the rundown. Don't forget, this is the rundown with the boys, the group, whatever we decide to be that day.
You my opposer when I want freedom. You my opposer when I want justice. You my opposer when I want equality. Want me to go somewhere and fight for you? You won't even stand up for me right here in America.